I caught my brother taking secret photos of me at my wedding, then showing them to the family. And the worst part is that for a few hours I didn't even realize I was acting in the kind of documentary only a jealous sibling could direct. If you've ever stood in front of people you love and promised to love someone else, you know there's a hum under your skin, strings tuning before the song begins. That's how it felt when the chapel doors closed behind me and the music swelled and I saw my wife walking toward me like she'd rehearsed with the sun. What I couldn't see not then was my brother Noah standing in the side aisle, not looking at her, not looking at me, but at his phone, thumb flicking, screen bright, lens angling, a mosquito in a tuxedo. I'm Daniel. The boring one if you ask my family. The reliable one if you ask anyone who's ever needed a ride to the airport at 4 a.m. I was the first to move out, the first to get a job that came with a 401k and forms that make you feel accomplished just because they're in a folder with your name on it. Noah is 3 years younger and has always lived like the floor was a trampoline. When we were kids, he'd leap from the couch to the ottoman to the armchair, only touching the carpet if he fell or if Mom yelled his middle name. I loved him, like you love a storm when you're 10 and you don't have to drive in it. Rehearsal dinner, Noah is charming. He clinks a glass, tells a story about me teaching him to shave using whipped cream because we'd run out of foam, spreads his arms and says, "To my brother, the man who taught me to be a man." Everyone laughs. Later, he sneaks a cigarette with the caterer. I catch his eye through the window. He raises the cigarette like a salute. It's nothing. I don't know yet that everything is documentary fodder to an audience looking for proof. Wedding morning, I lace my shoes twice, the habit of a man who learned the hard way about tripping in front of an auditorium. My best man, Jamal, checks my breath and my tie and my face for doubt. "It's just nerves," he says, like he's swatting flies off me. My phone is on airplane mode because that's what the planner told me, and I am a rules man when I don't know what to do with my hands. The venue coordinator opens the door. It's time. And it is. The ceremony is a rush and a slow-motion montage. My wife, Claire, mouths "hey" when she reaches me, and it makes my throat collapse in the good way. My father squeezes my shoulder like he's testing whether my bones are real. My mother cries, not pretty but honest. The photographer, a woman with a quiet voice and the reflexes of a hawk, moves like good punctuation. I say I do with my whole chest. Claire says I will like a promise she's already started keeping. We kiss. People clap. That's the part one want to live in forever, the clap that means you were brave for being ordinary on purpose. Then the receiving line, the cocktail hour, the shooter trays going by like tiny promises. In the corner of my eye I keep catching flashes. Not the photographer's flash, she's all natural light, all know-how. These are smaller, sneakier. I turn and see Noah put his phone down and clap, eyebrows up like he's just remembered a punchline. He hugs Claire's grandmother longer than you're supposed to hug someone whose bones you can feel. He whispers in her ear and she presses her hand to her chest. He slips into the back kitchen and comes out with napkins he doesn't need. I file it under Noah-ness. I'm not looking for villains. I've got a wife in white and a band warming up and a father humming something he's too shy to sing. Dinner. Toasts. Sophia, my cousin, our unofficial sibling, roasts me so gently I feel like a marshmallow. Jamal tells the shaving cream story again, gets the whipped cream detail wrong, and we all pretend it's fine. Then Noah stands, and there's a ripple because he has that effect, like the room adjusts itself to the frequency he emits. He doesn't toast. He says a few words, which is Noah for, "I'm about to perform intimacy." He thanks Claire for making my brother the kind of man he always wanted to be. Thanks our parents for raising us with all the love whether or not we deserved it. Subtweet. Thanks the bartender by name, flirting, and then here's to moments, the little ones, like when you catch someone looking away but smiling. He raises his glass and looks right at me. It's a line that sounds sweet until you learn he's been catching those moments for later. After dinner, dancing. I am ecstatic and sweaty and suddenly very aware of my own joy like it's a borrowed suit I'm allowed to wear as long as I don't spill. Claire and I do the wooden version of the choreographed dance we practiced once in the living room. She laughs when I miss the turn and her laugh makes the chandeliers try harder. People crowd in. I'm spinning and clapping and taking gulps of water like it's a sacrament. I twirl my mother. I dip my wife. I try to grab Noah for a brother dance, which is not a thing but should be. He waves me off. 1 second. 1 sec turns into 3 into 5. His off to the side, phone up again, not filming the band, not filming the cake, but me. It's then, just then, that I feel the shiver of being observed by someone who isn't rooting for you. You know that feeling? Like someone's counting your blinks. Hey, I say, catching him by the arm as he slides past. Why the covert cinematography? He grins, boyish and unbothered. You only get one of these, he says. Want to remember the real stuff. Not the pose stuff. But you're filming me, I say, not us. He shrugs. You're my brother. Then has gone back to whatever theater he's running in his head. There's a moment later, tiny, dumb, and it ends up being central in the gallery he creates. I pull away from the dance floor to sit with Claire's aunt, who uses a cane with a brass swan on the handle. She tells me her late husband once danced so hard his shoe flew into the punch bowl. I laugh too big and my mouth does this unflattering thing it does when I'm open and tired and the artificial lights make everything sharp. I tilt my head, rub my neck, and she says, "You sure okay, darling?" I say, exhausted, and rub my eyes the way men do on TV when they confess. What I don't see is Noah, 10 feet away, taking a burst of photos that freeze the second my face doesn't know it's being watched. You need to know about the group chat. If your family has one, you know the ecosystem. 100 good morning gifts from an aunt who discovered Bitmoji, an occasional prayer request, a complaint about the price of eggs that brings out everyone's inner economist. Ours is called Famjam because Sophia named it in 2017 and refuses to change it. The rule is nothing political, no chain letters, and do not text after 10 p.m. unless a human is on fire. At 9:42, while I'm dancing with Claire's little cousin and pretending I have rhythm, Noah posts a photo in Famjam, me sitting with the swan cane aunt rubbing my eyes. Caption, caught him crying in the corner. People react. Heart emojis. Oh. So sweet. Then another photo, me at the bar with my head tilted as the bartender pours me water. The shot makes it look like I'm lined up for a double. Caption, or maybe not water face with tears of joy, then the burst from when my face got weird. Caption, cold feet cameo. Sophia told me this after. I saw it, she said, and my stomach did that elevator drop. She texted him separately, not cool. He replied, relax. Then, to the whole chat, he posted a cropped still from the photographer's test shots, a frame where I'm looking down adjusting my cufflinks, mouth tense. Caption, when the ring suddenly feels heavy. By dessert, my phone is no longer on airplane mode because the DJ wanted our song requests for the afterparty. There are messages stacked like plates. Most are fine, sweet, normal. Then there's a text from my mother who is at the reception who could have walked 5 feet and touched my sleeve saying, "Are you okay?" Noah sent a photo. You looked upset. My father, who hates texting, sends, "Proud of you, son, whatever you feel is okay." My Aunt Linda sends a praying hands emoji and then marriage is hard at first like she's sending me a spoiler. I look up and catch Noah grinning at his phone, showing Claire's cousin a photo, and then both of them look over at me with that conspiratorial kindness people use on puppies and patients. The heat that starts in my chest is not anger yet, it's something uglier like shame being told where to sit. I find him by the door to the terrace where smokers collect like punctuation. What are you doing? I ask, and there's no lace on my voice. It's rope. He laughs. Capturing the vibes, man. Everyone loves this stuff. Realer than the formal pics. You're telling the story like I'm the wrong kind of real, I say. He rolls his eyes. You're so sensitive. He pockets the phone like a holster. This is good content. Content. I repeat it back to him like you repeat snake when someone says rope and you see fangs. He drops the grin. His jaw sets in that way that used to come before he punched a locker in high school. Don't make me the bad guy, he says. I'm the only one honest enough to document you not being Mr. Perfect for once. And there it is. The thing under the thing. He's been waiting to be the narrator of my life. I don't yell. I don't know if I could have or if the part of me that always plays mediator stepped in and sat me down. Stop, I say plain. Stop filming me. Stop posting photos of me without asking. Stop turning my wedding into your conspiracy theory. He gives me this almost pitying look, and for a second I see him at 8 years old, hating that I got the front seat. People can tell when someone's making a mistake, he says. I'm just making sure the family can support you when the shine wears off. The shine? I say. He shrugs. Claire. She's beautiful. She's a lot. You don't always do great with a lot. I step back like his breath smelled like something dead. You're projecting a movie you wrote on the wall, I say. You're not even watching what's actually happening. He laughs, but it's brittle now. Dude. You literally left the dance floor twice to sit down. I left to talk to people who can't stand for 2 hours, I say. I left to drink water so I didn't pass out. I left to breathe because the room was hot, and for a second I felt like a human in a suit and not a suit with a human in it. That's allowed. It's mine. Someone opens the door behind him and music pours out, the kind of song that demands your hips do algebra. Noah looks past me like he'd like to walk into the chorus without finishing this conversation. It's not that deep, he says. I'll stop. Okay. Chill. He doesn't stop. He stops posting in FamJam, sure. But he creates a shared album, one of those cloud things that spill into your devices without knocking, and names it behind the scenes Real. He adds our cousins, our aunts, our parents, my godmother who thinks the cloud is where angels keep recipes. The album is a museum of half-truths, me looking at my tie like a noose, me wiping sweat like regret, me hugging my dad, eyes closed, tender yes but cropped tight so it looks like collapse. He captions them all, when the pressure hits, we've all been there, pray for him to find peace. I find out the next morning in a bathrobe, the morning after joy, sitting with Claire on the hotel balcony sharing cold pancakes. My phone pings. You were brave, Aunt Linda messages me again, and I want to throw my phone into the fake koi pond below us. Sophia calls so I don't have to read my family in text. Don't freak out, she says, which is the marquee above freak out. Noah made a thing. It's gross. I reported it to the cloud police, aka I texted him take this down now. He didn't. I spend our first hour of marriage watching a slideshow of a version of me I don't remember starring in. Claire stands behind me, her hand on my shoulder, the weight that has always made me feel more like myself, not less. Who's seeing this? I ask, voice thin. Your mom, Sophia says. Your dad. My mother, God help him. Probably half the people who ever brought a casserole to your house. Claire squeezes. We can call him, she says. Or we can leave it and go eat pancakes for real. I call him. He doesn't answer. I call again. Straight to voicemail. I leave a message that is calmer than I feel. Take down the album. Now. He replies with a text. It's supportive. You need to let people in. And who made you the door? I type back. Take it down. He doesn't. Instead, he adds new photos from the morning after, us walking through the lobby, me yawning, Claire rubbing her eyes, both of us human in public. Caption, rough night. That afternoon, after we've packed and written the first handful of thank you notes like good nerds and kissed 3 times in the elevator because kissing in elevators is a small religion, I go to my parents' house. Claire tells me not to go alone, but I need to walk into the place where Noah learned the way attention works and put my hand on the thermostat. I know the code. I open the door and the house smells like lemon oil and leftovers. Mom is in the kitchen, putting cling wrap on a tray with the concentration of a surgeon. Dad is at the table with a crossword and his glasses on the end of his nose like they're flirting with gravity. Hi, I say, and my mother flinches like I'm a ghost. You scared me, she says, and then hugs me so hard I feel the skin of my neck shift. Are you okay? You looked in that picture. I'm okay, I say. Pictures are not the same as being there. Dad folds the paper slow. Noah's being enthusiastic, he says, choosing the kindest word he can find. We told him to knock it off. And I ask. Dad lifts his chin like he's reluctant to talk badly about one child to another. He said he's telling the truth people don't want to see. I walk down the hall to Noah's old room, now an exercise room in theory, and also still a shrine to his high school trophies. He's there on the floor doing half-hearted crunches like he's auditioning for a montage. His phone is on the carpet, screen up, notifications lighting his face each time someone likes a photo of my worst angle. Turn it off, I say. He doesn't sit up. You can't control stories, he says. Once they are out, they are out. I'm not controlling a story, I say. I'm refusing to be miscast. He sits up then. There is something raw around his eyes, something that makes me pause. He looks for a second less like the storm and more like the tree it battered. Do you know what it was like, he says, growing up 2 steps behind you? Everyone always pointing at you like a road sign. Do it like Daniel. Ask Daniel. Be more like, he swallows the rest. Then you bring home perfect Claire and suddenly there's this movie. The movie where you're the good one and I'm the B-roll. Is that what this is? I ask, and there's grief in it I didn't expect to feel. You decided to make me a man who almost ran so you could be the prophet who saw it coming. He flinches. I was documenting. For once. No, I say, and I sit on the bench because standing makes me feel like a judge and I don't want to be that to him. For once would be you dancing with me, you handing me water, you taking a photo of me with Dad and captioning it "He's still his son." For once would be you celebrating me in public instead of filing a case against me. He rubs his face. It got away from me, he says small. People reacted. I liked the reactions. You liked the power, I say. You liked the version of me where you can be right about me being fragile. You've always been waiting for me to crack so you can say you knew. He doesn't deny it. He picks at a thread on the carpet. I didn't think it would hurt you like this. Then you don't know me as well as I thought you did, I say. Or you do and you wanted it anyway. There is a silence where childhood sits down between us. He finally nods at his phone like it's a weapon he forgot he was holding. I'll delete the album, he says. I'll tell them I was out of line. I'll apologize. Not for me, I say. Not to me. For you. To them. To yourself. Because you can't keep doing this, turning people into stories where you get to be the narrator who explains their life to them. He looks up at me and for a second I see the kid who used to climb into my bed during thunderstorms, hot feet on my shins, whispering, "It's loud." Okay, he says. Okay. He deletes it. I watch him do it because I am old enough to know that I did it and it's done are not the same. He sends a message to FamJim. I was wrong. I made Daniel's day about me. I'm sorry. He leaves the chat, which is dramatic but useful. Aunt Linda replies with a heart. Sophia replies with a screenshot of him leaving and "We will add you back when you earn your way back like a subscription." My mother sends an audio message, God help her, saying "We love both of you. Stop making me nervous." Dad sends nothing, which is his way of letting the air settle. For a while it does not. People still text me articles about boundaries like I've been asked to give a TED talk on not letting people steal your narrative. A cousin I haven't seen in 5 years sends me a paragraph about how men are allowed to cry and I want to mail him a trophy that says "for recognizing water." The band posts a photo of Claire and me laughing and the algorithm shows it to Noah's friends who comment goals and I give the screen the finger and then laugh at myself because it's just glass and light. Noah stays quiet. Then, a week later, he asks to meet. Public place. Breakfast. Neutral territory where the most damage we can do is to pancakes. He shows up early, miracle, and without his phone, bigger miracle. He slides into the booth looking like he slept in a room with no screens and some honesty. He doesn't reach for my menu to make choices for me like he once did, a small power move he pretended was love. I'm in therapy, he says as soon as the waitress leaves. It's the kind of sentence that would have been a punchline 5 years ago in our family, and now it feels like buying a good pair of shoes. I started last week. I told her the whole thing. She asked who I am when I'm not performing. I said I don't know. He smiles like it scares him. She said that's a good start. I don't need you to be someone you're not, I say. I need you to be someone who doesn't use me to figure it out. He nods. I'll ask next time before I take a photo. I'll ask before I post. I'll ask before I narrate. That's a lot of asking, I say, but it lands right. That's how you learn other people's answers. We eat pancakes like they will fix us and they don't, but they make the morning easier to hold. He tells me he hated feeling like sidekick. I tell him I hated feeling like pedestal. He tells me he thought if he could show people I was human first, they wouldn't turn on me later when I inevitably messed up. I tell him that's not protection, it's preemptive sabotage. He says sorry out loud, not in a text, and I believe him not because the word is new but because the voice is. On the drive home, I replay small frames, Claire's hand on my shoulder, my mother's cling wrap focus, my father folding the paper, Sophia's knee against mine, Noah's thumb hovering over delete like it weighed more than a phone. Weddings are story machines. So are families. So am I. The trick, I think, is learning to hold two truths at once. I was ridiculously, electrically happy that day, and I was also tired and overheated and sometimes overwhelmed. Both versions are real. The photographer's album shows me with my mouth open and my hands up, laughing like joy owes me rent. Noah's album, may it rest, showed me mid-blink, mid-wince, mid-who knows. It took the in-between and called it the point. A month later, we have a little after-wedding dinner at our apartment. Just family, the ones who can behave and the ones who will try. Claire bakes a cake that looks like it was frosted by a genius child. Noah shows up with flowers for Claire and a toolbox for me because the curtain rod I installed leans like it drank too fast. We eat, we talk, we make fun of the DJ's playlist like it offended us personally. At some point, I stand up with two photos in my hands, one from the professional album, Claire and me under the arbor, forehead to forehead, one from someone's phone, me in profile, pale somewhere between beats. This, I say, holding them up, is the same day. I look at Noah. You don't have to prove I'm human. I intend to demonstrate it regularly in polite and impolite ways. But when I'm not watching, please let your lens be generous. He nods, eyes bright, and I can tell he wants to joke because that's his oxygen. He doesn't. He says, okay. Maybe the smallest word is the right size for a promise at first. Later, dishes clatter and somebody starts a story about a dress code at a cousin's work and the room becomes all sound and forks and the music of a family that will, for better and worse, keep trying. Noah catches my eye, lifts his phone a half-inch, eyebrows up, permission? I think about the boy who leapt from couch to ottoman, about the man who thinks attention is oxygen and is just now learning it can also be water. You need some, not all. I nod. He tilts the phone, takes a picture of Claire and me and everyone else in the room, even him in the reflection on the window, blurred and bright and together. He doesn't post it. He texts it to me, for your album. Title, Ordinary Joy. I save it. I set it as my lock screen. And when Aunt Linda texts a week later asking how married life is, I sent her a picture of the curtain rod finally level, of the pancakes we made on a Tuesday, of Noah on the floor rolling his eyes while Claire explains paint swatches like they're planets. I tell her, it's good. It's messy. It's ours. She sends back a heart and, of course, praying hands, and I laugh because the world is still itself. Here's the thing I couldn't see while my brother's lens was too close. I don't have to spend my life swatting other people's narratives. I get to write mine longhand with smudges, with pages that stick together a little because of frosting or grief. And in my draft, my wedding is where I said yes and again, first to Claire, then to the family we are still drafting, then to the practice of asking before I assume. In my draft, my brother is a storm learning to be rain. In my draft, I am not afraid to be photographed mid-blink. I'm just learning to point the camera at the whole room.